Hi, you wrote in, we listened. Basically, you wanted a more kind of intimate look at what goes on behind the scenes at ALEXACHUNG. The brand, obviously, not inside the brain, because that is crazy. And so we came up with this idea, B-sides, which is essentially things that we've made that for one reason or another didn't kind of quite make the cut. So I have a rail of beautiful garments, which are slight near misses, and I'm going to talk you through them. Okay, first up actually, this jacket, which is a shape that we do make, which I'm very happy with. This is a fabric that we developed, which I thought reminded me of Wimbledon, which was a good idea at the time, because you design so far in advance. Often in the bleak midwinter, when you're imagining the summer, you kind of romanticize those British pursuits. So I was like, oh, Wimbledon, tweed. So I really liked this, because when you view fabric, it's the size of a postage stamp. But obviously when it came out in a big coat, it was a little bit too Wimbledon. So it worked as a tiny miniskirt, but perhaps that was, yeah. Anyway, I'd also like to add, at the end of every season, because we're not a wasteful company, we do this thing called, well, it's bingo. I don't know, we do this thing called bingo, guys. No, we have bingo, and we basically put all of the different samples onto a rail, and then we call out a number, and you can win bits and bobs. So nothing gets wasted, it just goes to a home on the back of someone in the office. Here's a stunning t-shirt. So here was my idea. I thought, the 90s have happened, the 80s have happened, surely the very early noughties is gonna come and get us. I'm talking Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, maybe early Britney, like very low-slung jeans, a time when Lindsay Lohan was knocking around with those girls and living the life. And at least in my mind, it makes me feel a bit icky, the things I was wearing then. For example, for the millennium, I wore a black sleeveless tank top with a Diamante encrusted cityscape on it, and I felt so good. Also, thanks Dad, because he made me a fake ID so that I could go to a club. And they'd be really pleased to hear that I just stood in the corner all night going like this. Anyway, so I was like, okay, hot fix Diamante stuff, kind of disgusting Von Dutch style, like, bit gross. Surely that's gonna become cool again. So we made this t-shirt for our Arrivals and Departures collection with a little bunny rabbit on it, which was it was inspired by this napkin in Japan. Already there was too many elements, can you see? So we hot fixed it onto this mustard yellow t-shirt, and the result, I think, is pretty great, but you know, the people weren't ready for it yet. And I think we can store this idea away for a rainy day. But mark my words, early noughties, it's happening. You've got your baguette bag, you've got your slingbacks. We're moments away from overly distressed denim again. I'm so sorry. Another thing that I loved, so basically, we do a lot of vintage research, and when we were in Germany, I found this incredible jacket, not dissimilar from this, and it was red. And I was like, that's a great starting point, because I think the collection we were working on at the time was this one called, it was Britpop, I think. So it was like, da-da-da, 90s donkey jacket, yada, yada. So we made this, which I still quite like, but in fact, I'll just put it on for you. Maybe it was just a bit sad. So I was like, oh yeah, cool, tomboyish, donkey jacket, Britishness thing, but you just end up looking like you're half in fancy dress as a gorilla and half train spotting. So I wasn't sure this was going to really set the fashion community on fire. So we're holding that back for a rainy day, but still, I think it's going to be great. Also, it makes quite a lot of, you'd hear me coming. But a good idea. It was actually also weirdly expensive. Faux fur can be weirdly expensive, so that's what happened to that. Another thing, which I think went away in the bingo, was combat trousers. Again, going back to like what will recur, I used to love All Saints growing up and the 90s, and I was thinking like Maharishi kind of combat trousers from the 90s, a la All Saints, for sure will be back. So we made a pair, and I'm talking 3 years ago, and nobody wanted them, but now it's finally hit. So sometimes you can just be too far ahead. Speaking of too far ahead, we did a collection called Ludlow, which was all about like the Lower East Side. I was imagining it was the 80s. This chick was maybe a ballet dancer by day, but getting her kicks at night. So we made all these really cute knits, like leotards, yada yada, and we made these. I don't know how else to tell you how it happened, but we were like, yeah, that jumper's really sweet. Maybe it can come with some woolen knickers that you could wear it with. I don't need to tell you, it was quite tricky to sell these, not least because they are made of an acrylic, quite starchy fabric, which I thought was really cool and Prada-esque, but actually near the nether regions, I just don't know if you need something that scratchy in the gusset. So yeah, you can put these on the rainy day pile. This was just brought to my attention. I don't even know what this is. I couldn't even begin to, I think it was this suede dress that we were using for the Muse, which was this groupie's 70s California collection. But it's important with design not to do faithful renditions. They really need to take a few steps before they become a wearable item. And what was fine in the 70s turns out isn't necessarily fine now, AKA wife swapping, really large bell bottoms, and you know, this fringed affair. Maybe if it was shorter. I'm pleased to say there's actually not that many other things which didn't make the cut. We're quite good at developing things that end up going into production and actually hitting the shop floor, but sometimes that, you know, just doesn't happen. I'll just put it all on as an ensemble over the top of the thing so you can really get it. Yeah, these are cute. Maybe not over the thing. Thanks so much for watching. Click to subscribe, ring the bell, like this, and I'll see you next time.